Just a heads up, this is going to be the only video for today. We'll be back to our regular schedule tomorrow. Had something to take care of this morning that was only supposed to take about an hour, 2 hours at the most. Ended up taking up over 4 hours, so not going to have enough time to get the second video out today, but we will be back to regular schedule tomorrow. Let's go ahead and talk about perception. Perception is a unique thing because it can be entirely subjective. My dad, he's owned a landscaping and irrigation business for almost 40 years. My dad loves a yard. I mean, he loves it. It's his passion. He has the most immaculate yard in the neighborhood, cuts his grass twice a week whether it needs it or not. It can be the middle of winter, he somehow has green grass. Not only does my dad love his yard, he expects everyone else to have the same love, the same passion for their yard. I remember a while back when I hired someone to take care of my yard. My dad thought it was blasphemy. Sitting in the house one day preparing one of these videos for YouTube when I hear a lawnmower crank up. I figured it was just one of my neighbors cutting their grass. No. I noticed something through the side of my eyes, look over, and I see my dad riding the lawnmower through my yard and loading it up on his trailer. He thought it was absurd that I was paying someone to cut my grass. But, you know, the people who pay him to cut their grass, that's not absurd. But anyway, my dad can look at his yard, he can look at my yard and appreciate the beauty of it, watch the birds and squirrels running around, watch the dog take a big shit in the flower bed. He can sit on the porch all afternoon with his beer and just stare into his yard. I look out into the same yard, I could not care less. I see a shitload of work that I have no passion for doing. I would rather be working here on videos. Me and my dad, we had different perspectives. We had different perceptions. It's no different than me and the mainstream media having completely different perceptions when it comes to ratings for the NBA Finals. If you were to believe the mainstream media, well, if you're a long-term viewer of this channel, I would imagine you have absolutely no trust in the mainstream media. But if you were naive enough to believe the media, you would think ratings for the NBA Finals are surging. I have not seen this much misplaced hype surrounding television ratings since the last time the media was falsely hyping up ratings in the WNBA dump. Headline at the LA Times, NBA playoffs top TV ratings. Well, no shit. Generally speaking, live sports always the most watched thing on television. Unless, of course, we're talking about Major League Baseball. Even with all the innovative changes, Major League Baseball is still struggling to draw an audience. Perhaps normal people are not interested in seeing the Mr. Sisters sliding headfirst into Leah Thomas's cucumber. Headline over at USA Today. NBA Finals TV ratings show fans don't think it's dull. Oh, really? Really? When I look at ratings for the NBA Finals, the message I am seeing is that people could not give a fuck less. These ratings are absolutely atrocious, and you can't blame woke politics this time around. Adam Silver actually followed through on his promise, removed all Preparation H from NBA locker rooms. Can't blame LeBron James and his journey fighting through mythical racism. LeBron's pretty much remained silent when it comes to political and social issues. Matter of fact, heading into the NBA Finals, the league was seeing the highest ratings that they've seen in decades. That's why we haven't talked NBA ratings in a while here on the channel. There's been nothing to talk about. Ratings have been great until they reach the finals. Let me read these ratings to you, and you tell me if this qualifies as monster ratings. You tell me if this shows you that casual fans were interested in this series. Game 1, 11.6 million, down 300,000 viewers from last year. Game 2, 11.9 million, matching Game 2 from last year. This is great! Fans just needed time to get to know these stars. Yeah, that's the problem. There was not one star on the court. Well, KC, what about Jimmy Butler? What about him? I like Jimmy Butler. Dude's a phenomenal player. I like the Miami Heat as an organization. Wish my Pelicans were run as efficiently as the Heat, but I'm a diehard fan of the NBA. You know who doesn't care about Jimmy Butler? Casual Carl, the guy the NBA is trying to lure back in. Know who else doesn't care about Jimmy Butler? Casual Carl's girlfriend, Debbie Drama. For casual fans, the NBA Finals lacked the one thing needed to bring them back in. Now you gotta remember, this league has spent the last 3 years giving casual fans every reason not to watch, accusing them of mythical racism, trying to convince them that the WNBA is real basketball, turning NBA arenas into voting centers where it was frowned upon to vote for a 6'3" man who identifies as an orange. Orange man bad. The one thing the NBA lacked with the finals? Intrigue. There was nothing intriguing about this matchup, both on the court and, more importantly, off the court. The Nuggets were heavy favorites going into the series. No one gave the Heat a chance to win except for me. I thought Miami was going to pull the upset, but I was wrong. I didn't know Jimmy Butler had something in common with Dylan Mulvaney. Dude went through a transition. Didn't change his gender. Jimmy Butler changed his occupation. He transitioned from an NBA player into a fucking magician. Dude completely disappeared during the finals. This series was an absolute nightmare for the NBA, and it has nothing to do with the markets of the teams. Cleveland's a small market, yet somehow the Cavs drew between 17 and 20 million. Oklahoma City's a small market. They drew almost 17 million back in 2012. The lack of national fan bases, that is not the reason the NBA Finals were once again a huge embarrassing failure. Miami had a national fan base, 10 years ago? Millions of people tuned in to see LeBron James lose. The NBA Finals was once again an embarrassing failure because the players involved gave fans no reason to tune in. I cannot stand Draymond Green. I think he's a disease, but you know what? As much as I dislike Draymond Green, I think he's one hell of an entertainer. Draymond Green is a performer. He understands what it takes to draw ratings. The NBA more than any other league, they need superstar players engaged to draw ratings. They need stars going to war with each other both on and off the court. The great players know how to create rivalries. They know how to capture the casual fan's interest. Going into Game 3, series was tied 1-1. I actually watched the first 2 games of the NBA Finals. Now you would think with a tied up series, I would be watching Game 3, right? I couldn't find the interest. Apparently, I was not the only one. 11.2 million for Game 3. If you remove the 2 years the NBA was getting pounded by the Fauci, Game 3, least watched game for an NBA Finals in 16 years. Things only got worse for Game 4, 10.4 million. Going into Game 5 last night, this was one of the least watched finals in the history of the NBA, which seems to be an ongoing pattern in the NBA. Seems like I say the same thing every single summer. The difference this year, though, there was a lot of interest throughout the playoffs. Like I said, NBA playoff ratings, highest they've been in decades going into the finals. The media is pretending that this is great news, and it is in the short term. The NBA had 8 games eclipse 8 million viewers during the first 3 rounds of the playoffs. But here's the problem. 5 of the 8 games involve the Lakers or the Warriors. In terms of star power, this league is top heavy, which would be fine if those top heavy stars were in their prime. Steph Curry nearing retirement, LeBron James contemplating retirement. KC, what about Anthony Davis? Anthony Davis is not a superstar. If you ask your girlfriend who Anthony Davis is, she's going to think he's your nerdy white accountant. The dynasty in Golden State on the verge of collapse. The Celtics being elite, that's great for the NBA, but Boston doesn't have any mainstream stars. They don't have a player that can keep casual fans engaged throughout the regular season. Another problem right now in the NBA, some of the best star players are all foreign. They come from different cultures. It's hard for fans to relate to them, and to be honest with you, it's hard for those players to relate to the fans. One of the best ways for players to show their relatability is during post-game press conferences. There have been so many memorable moments, so many classic sound bites that have come from press conferences during the playoffs. These types of moments, they give fans a reason to watch the games. Last night, Nikola Jokic, he's behind the podium at the post-game press conference. This dude just won the finals, his first NBA title. He has cemented himself as the best center in the league. He's on the road to being one of the best ever. Jokic is unbelievable on the court. He's fun to watch. But people are not watching. Most people don't care. Jokic, sitting behind the mic last night, looking like he wanted to be anywhere else. As it turns out, he did want to be somewhere else. One of the reporters asked him how he felt. During the question, he mentions the championship parade in Denver on Thursday. Pay close attention. Watch the reaction. Watch the response from Nikola Jokic. Roll the film.
You said after the Lakers win, you said you were surprised that you didn't feel more. So I'm curious what you are feeling right now and if you're looking forward to a parade coming up in Denver.
When is parade? When is parade?
Thursday.
No. I need to go home.
Does this create a funny moment? Sure. I mean, I laughed when I first saw it. Does it make for a good visual, good soundbite? I guess. I understand he's ready to get home. If I were him after a long season, I'd be ready to be home too. But what really jumped out to me while watching that clip, Jokic looks at this like it's just a job. It's just a means to an end. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can't build your league around it. The most entertaining players, the dudes that were able to capture the attention of America, they all shared a passion for the game. Jordan, Kobe, Bird, Magic, LeBron, Steph Curry, Shaq. Shaq might have been lazy at times, but he had a passion for entertaining you. These guys didn't treat it as just another job. And it's not just Jokic. It seems like a lot of players in the NBA, they're just to collect a paycheck. Looking at you, Zion Williamson. Here's the thing. Who is the NBA going to build around? Who is the next face of the NBA? Can't build around Ja Morant. His ass is about to be suspended. Can't build around Zion Williamson. His ass can't put down the donuts. This is no longer a one-off. This is no longer a trend. Bad ratings for the NBA, it's become a pattern. We talk about this same thing every year. Regular season ratings, atrocious. Ratings for the NBA Finals struggle to reach 12 million viewers every year. It's gotten so bad. The mainstream media is now considering anything over 11 million to be a success. I don't know anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe my perception is wrong. Give me your thoughts. Ratings for Game 5, they haven't been released, but it ain't gonna matter. Game 5 is not going to draw enough to boost the average by too much. Does the NBA have a ratings problem? Do they have a problem in terms of star power going into the future? Two of their youngest stars can't stay on the court. One is too busy playing with guns, the other one's too busy trying to eat one. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, kc_btl84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.